Welcome to Scare Confident. I'm your host, Tiffany Souter. Okay, on this episode again, we are answering your questions. And this question is really long. I mean, it'll take me a minute to read it, but I'm going to give you that background. It's long. And this, I think, question is less about my story and more about what happens when you're at a place of success. Do you continue to go for more, or is that enough? Okay, so with that backdrop, here is the question. The question states this. This might be asking for too much vulnerability from a business owner, but after hearing you on several podcasts, it sounds like you have built a successful and profitable marketing business. I'm confused then. Why would you pivot to marketing to consumers like me when you have a business that is profitable? Was that not enough, or did your ability to commit to it change? I think this is an awesome question. And again, I'll tell you my actual literal answer, but I think the question is more about if you're at a place where you've done something that was successful, do you stay there? Do you keep going? Do you ride that horse into the stable? What do you do? So here is my actual story and scenario here. So it is true. I have a very successful marketing agency called Element 3. I started running that about 20 years ago. And 2 years ago, I put a president in place who is doing an amazing job. His name is Kyler. He's been on that. So as Kyler is stepping into that role, doing an amazing job, leading the business at this stage, really better than I know how to do, it's just not my gifting. I need to create space for him to go do that. So I have some options of what I can do with that time. I'm awesome at the beginning of something when it's messy, when it's crazy, when there's no rules. I say I'm good with a machete in the middle of the rainforest where there's no path and somebody has to pick somewhere to go. That's what I'm really good at. But that is not the stage that Element 3 is at anymore. It is very much in a scale up place. And so while I still have value to bring to that business, it is not in the same way of 40 to 60 hours a week. Okay, so the question becomes, what does Tiffany do with her time? I can certainly decide to be home a lot more with my kids. And I'm home more with them now for sure than I was 3 to 5 years ago. So I'm home more with them. But my DNA as an entrepreneur, my energy as a creator, my love of helping other people led me to this place where it's I think that I can create a sustainable environment that creates value for my family and I, allows me to help people, lots and lots of people across the world with problems that were major issues in my life. How do I stay close with my husband? How do I scale the infrastructure of our household as our house is getting crazier and crazier? How do I be intentional about prioritizing my family? How do I make sure everybody's at the same place at the same time? How do I not live in a chaotic, messy, dirty house? How do I do all this stuff? And so my entrepreneur business mind can't help but figure out, how do I turn this into something that's self-sustaining? It makes money. It helps lots of people, creates value in the world. And that is where I just light up. I just love to do it. And yes, it's been kind of frustrating at times because I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to scale a podcast. At the beginning, I wasn't good at this. All of that to me is staying inside of this muscle and commitment to personal growth. And that's how I grow. I think some people grow playing pickleball or volunteering at the school. I don't know what the things are, but that's other stuff I could do with my time. It just doesn't sound as fun. This is what lights me up. So yes, it's true. I have a very successful, profitable marketing company. Yes, it's true that I could have decided to do nothing or something else. But the place I felt pulled, the place I feel like my talents are going to be most continue to be refined. And the place I think in many ways, I just feel like God calling my resources and my time and my energy was into this project. So we go with it. We're continuing to get better at it, learning how to scale it and just understanding how do I keep myself as a really authentic creator where it's exactly what I believe, exactly what I want to say, really authentic, but also sometimes has to happen on days where I don't really want to do it. How do you be really authentic in all of that journey? And so here we are, we're doing this. So it's true, I don't have to do this, but I think I do have to as like a growth fueled person, I have to keep putting myself in the unknown. I have to keep putting myself in risk. I have to keep betting on things and feeling on the edge. That's how I continue to grow and expand. And I don't think I can market well a life of and if I'm not continuing to pursue new ands in my life, even when I don't financially have to. And I think that's when you really learn what's the real reason you do it for. And to me, the economic piece of it is about it being self-sustaining. If it makes money, then we get to do more of it. And if we make more money, then we get to grow the initiative and we get to invest more and create events, or I don't know what it looks like. It will unfold and be what it's going to become. But I think this is really less about my own journey with element 3 moving into this life of and project, and more about how do you be really aware of the gifts you have to put into the world, the place that those can be used, and how do you put them in a place where they become self-sustaining, where it can continue to be renewed in some way. And I just know how to do that from a financial perspective because I've spent my whole life figuring out how to build and scale businesses. So hopefully that answers the question, but hopefully it also helps you look at your world and say, where am I intentionally pursuing growth, even though nobody is making me do it? Where are you intentionally pursuing growth, even though no one is making you do it? As always, thank you for listening into this episode of Scared Confident. It is so fun to be able to connect with you weekly. And if you enjoyed this episode, the fastest way that we are growing the show is by having you share this episode with somebody that you think could get value from it. So thanks for listening and go crush your week. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Scared Confident. Until next time, keep telling fear, you will not decide what happens in my life. I will.